Yesterday we saw one program which included everything, all concepts we learned so far in this um last almost 2 weeks. Today we are going to start a new chapter. Basically, this is not a separate chapter um, because pointers in C, I do not teach pointers in C uh, uh, as a separate chapter because pointers will appear in all chapters here onwards, right? All chapters, almost all chapters, I can say. So the name of this chapter, or rather, name of the slide should be Introduction to Pointers in C, not Pointers in C, because there is once we learn we learn Introduction to Pointers in C. Then we will deal along with what is the relation of pointers and arrays, what is the relation of pointers and strings in C, right? What is the relation of pointers and structures? What is the role of pointers in file handling? What is the role of pointers in command line arguments, right? So, what is the role of pointers in dynamic memory allocation? So, all these are separate chapters, but pointers will reappear there each time. And that is the reason I told you yesterday that this chapter is important. Why? Because uh, though this is a very small chapter, concept is extremely small, right? But this is basis of no how machine works. It is said that pointers are not there in Java, pointers are not there in Python, but in programming jargon, programming terminology, basically it is a whatever they have implemented in Python or Java. Basically, these are sugar coated pills, right? So it is there because without pointer, it is not possible. It is nothing is possible. But they have hidden it from the programmer. That is the only issue. Uh, that's why in programming jargon, it is term as syntactic sugar. Okay. I like this word syntactic sugar because syntax and semantics is a part of programming, and sugar is part of our real life. So they call it as a syntactic sugar. So many words are there. Whenever I recall, I will go on sharing along with you. In the last chapter, I shared one more word as a function signature, right? Function signature is basically function declaration. So, so what is basically a pointer? Smallest definition is that pointer is a variable which contains an address of another variable. That's it. Um, Along with what is the terminology as far as pointers are concerned. So we'll be using these terms: memory, address, variable, data type. That is a primitive data type. This is a derived data type and user defined data type. So all these terms I'm going to use. As far as memory is concerned, I discuss a lot about memory in importance of memory while learning any programming language, and particularly when we learn pointers in C. we should have a knowledge of memory, how memory is allocated, first of all, where it is allocated, in what chunks it is allocated. When we say that in text and X is allocated 4 bytes of memory, what is the meaning of that? Right? When you send, when you use the address of operator, while scanf we use the address of operator ampersand X. So what does it mean? Okay, that everything will be basis for understanding the pointers in C. Right? So first of all, and these more terminologies like referencing, dereferencing, address operator, and indirection operator. Right. So first of all, I told you the definition. Pointer is a variable which contains an address of another variable. Why? First of all, Dennis Ritchie thought about no uh, proposing this kind of a data type. Basically, pointer is a data type, but it is not a built-in data type. What I mean by built-in data type, there is not a keyword like pointer. No, there is keyword int. You can create a variable having integer data type, which can contain integer constant. There is a float keyword. Using float or double, you can create a variable which can contain a real constant. There is a character keyword. Using character char, rather char is the keyword. Using char ch, you can store a single character in that variable. That's why these integer, float, double, and char are built-in data types of C language, primitive data types, what we can say. Likewise, pointer is not a primitive because pointer is not a keyword. You cannot declare a variable which can store, which can accommodate an address of some other variable. Not possible, right? So, uh, pointer is a derived data type. Okay? Because if you can recall from the first chapter, I told you that there are two categories of constants. One is a primary constant and secondary, and other is a secondary constant. Right? Secondary constants are basically derived from the primary constants. So our first this uh, constant and no data type are we use interchangeably. So this is the first data type which is a secondary constant, right? Why? Because we are uh, deriving it from built-in constant, deriving it. Likewise, no. Uh, suppose so pointer is derived. Huh? Pointer is basically a variable. Okay, it is a variable, but which can accommodate address of another location. Hmm? If we trace back to the history, it is a conception that pointer was introduced by C language. No, pointer is not introduced by, rather, pointer was not introduced by Dennis Ritchie, but before that, almost 15 years before that, around 1955, there was one programming language called APL, right? It was in Russia. Okay? Earlier, it was recognized. None of you except Shivaji might have heard this, but right now we call that country as Russia. But it was earlier USSR, right? USSR. Now, at that time, USSR was there. So there was a computer scientist. I can't recall his name, and name is also difficult to pronounce. But he basically devised that pointer concept, right? So storing an address of one variable to another variable. But since USSR at that time was not connected along with the rest of the world, then uh, his research didn't come out for rest of the world, and there was one, I think I don't know, he's some Powell or some scientist was there. He around after 10 years, around 65, he uh, complete new research, because research made by that Russian scientist was not available. Those documents were not those time available for rest of the world. So another, perhaps I don't remember was it a European or a American, but that computer scientist thought of storing address of one variable and storing it another variable, and that was basically the that research goes to his name. Okay, that concept goes to his name. That scientist, American scientist, and but basically that was not also no. It didn't become popular. So credit of popularizing that concept of pointer, mm, that goes to Dennis Ritchie, because Dennis Ritchie used that concept in his language, and since the C became popular and remained popular, that pointer automatically became popular is one of the reason of headache of so many no programmers around the world. And pointer is useful. Pointer can create havoc, complete havoc, right? Pointer can do anything. Um, I will directly start programming, right? To explain you the pointers. But before that, uh, uh, the earlier side, um, there are three terms: referencing, dereferencing, and we'll be uh, learning one more operator. Address operator we have already seen from the first chapter. Another is the indirection operator, right? That we call it the star operator. Same for that multiplication, but multiplication star operator is a binary operator. Here we will treat that the same operator as a unary operator, which we call it as the indirection operator. Let's declare a few variables, intakes. Right? I won't take input from the keyboard so that time can be saved. When you declare a float variable, and if you are assigning value, don't forget to attach the character if in front of real constant, because I told you that any number having decimal point, by default its data type for machine is double, right? So we are explicitly telling the compiler consider 4.5 as float and not as a double. These are three variables. Nothing new here. It will print 5, 4.5 and A, right? But I told you that when you declare three variables, or when you declare a variable, memory is allocated for the, it will give output as 4.5, 4.5 and A, right? Now, whenever variable is declared, memory is allocated for uh, them on the basis of uh, data type, on the basis of data type. right? We were using that address of operator in the scanf function. So what does it mean? When you write the scanf function, when control reaches at scanf function, scanf function is executed. Whatever you enter, okay, from the keyboard, what is the meaning of ampersand x? Store the value coming from keyboard at the address of x. Okay, that we were interpreting that statement like that. But we never thought of printing that. Today we will do that, right? So we will try to print memory locations of x, y, and ch. Address of x equal to percent %u is the format specifier. Uh, Basically, percent %u is unsigned. Percent %u is for unsigned integer, right? Percent %u is for unsigned integer. Since address is basically integer value, okay, uh, and address cannot be negative. That's why we use percent %u. But these format specifier change. If on Linux system you need percent %u doesn't work, you have to write percent %p. Hmm? If I write, no, I'm not writing. You want to print address of x, so you will use that ampersand x here. Until now, we were using that ampersand x for scanf. The first time we are using it for printing in the printf statement. The address of x, address of y, and address of ch. Right? Y. I'll compile this program again, and we will see now what are the addresses. So these are the basically memory addresses. Now note that which location is to be given to x, y, ch, not programmer's responsibility. Rather, you cannot decide that. You don't have at all any kind of control on that. Okay? That is decided by um, operating system. That is decided by operating system. Okay, so it is like that. You don't have at all. Uh, so address of x is 6487580. Address of y is 6487576. Right. So it shows that this is at 76. So for y, how many bytes would be there? 76, 77, 78, and 79. Right. So 4 bytes of memory for y since it is a float. And then for x, from 80th byte address, okay, because address is like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like that, right? So this is ahead of this, and this is 1 byte behind this, but there is no guarantee where it will be. This address can be 81, right? 64875, it can be 81, it can be 85, 86, anything it feels so, okay, at that moment when you run the program, right? So there is no guarantee. Now, what does the Dennis Ritchie thought? Dennis Ritchie thought, why not store this address in some variable? I don't know how he thought like that, but great people think in a different way. So he said, if you want to store an address of variable, suppose if you want to store an address of uh, integer memory location which contains an integer. I'm not saying variable as well. Okay. You want to store an address of memory location where integer is stored or integer will be stored. Clear? So if you want to store an address, declare a pointer variable. So I will declare a pointer variable int. Okay. Suppose I write uh, int ptr. But what is the difference between this and this? Nothing. Just by saying int ptr, will that compiler understand that it can store an address? No. No. Likewise, suppose I declare a variable as char uh, grade. Okay. Only because you have given the name grade, will it understand that grade will contain a single character? No. But what if you declare a variable as int grade? Is it capable of storing a character? No. Okay. So names are for only programmers. Programmers, right? It's of no use for this thing, uh, compiler, because when you write here x, right, compiler has given 4 bytes of memory, and that 4 bytes of memory has got an address. Compiler knows that it will go at that address and print whatever contents are there. That's it. The- like no, x is not a label there, right? X is not a label over there. So compiler is not bothered about whether it is X, Y, Z, or doesn't know anything. So likewise, this int ptr, compiler won't understand that you want to store an address. No, right? So how compiler will come to know? Because you here, at least when you write int x, compiler comes to know that you want to store integer, right? How compiler will come to know that you want to store an address? So that's why Dennis Ritchie proposed attach the star operator, right? Attach the star operator. Now compiler comes to know that this is a pointer variable. This is a pointer variable. Hmm. How to read this? It ptr is a variable, right? Go from the right hand side. Int ptr is a variable, right? Star is there, so it is not a normal variable. It is a pointer variable. Okay? Star is there. So int ptr is the name of the variable, but it is not a normal variable, but it is a pointer variable. And what is the significance of it? It doesn't mean it can contain integer, but it does mean that this pointer variable will point to a variable which is integer. Not that. So int ptr can contain an address of another variable, another integer variable, right? Okay. So this is declaration, right? This is a declaration of pointer variable. So I will write here. How I can store address of another variable in that this thing pointer variable. How do you store 5 in x? Same fashion. I write int ptr is equal to ampersand x. Okay. Storing an address of x in ptr. Okay. Simple assignment statement. What is the meaning of this? Now here in ptr is a pointer to x. Those who Okay, this is the community which is mostly irritated by pointers. But the interesting part of Python is that Python works only on pointers, internal pointers. Okay. Um, right now, I cannot tell this because all of you are C students. But usually, I explore Python from perspective of C language. Why it is become written in C language? It is a very Python is a great language, no problem. But it depends upon how do you learn it, how do you interpret that. Hmm? So int ptr is a pointer to x. Not only that, int ptr. So int ptr is a reference to the same word is used by variable is used by C++ community as a reference variable, and same word is used by Python for referring variables or values rather. So now in PTR is a pointer to x. What is the use of this? Use of this is that this pointer variable can be used to manipulate the contents of x. How? Let's check whether in PTR is another variable. Okay. So I will write here address of x. I will not write ampersand x. I will write in PTR, right? Because we have stored the address of x in PTR, right? So now address of x is stored in PTR. If I try to print contents of in PTR, it should print address of x. Very simple. So it is clear, right? Address of x is 6487572. Same as this, right? It is same. We are printing that address using int PTR, right? If I write here, I told you about referencing and dereferencing, right? Write contents of x. No, not contents. I will just write x is equal to percent d. Earlier we used that uh, directly name of the variable. No, I will not use the name of the variable, but I will dereference it now. Okay, I will try to print that using pointer variable. So I will this is the indirection operator, right? Star int ptr, right? Don't think about what is the use of this, that, nothing at all. Just now I told you at the beginning, just concentrate on breathing. That's it. Okay. What is the use of this? What diseases will go away? No, this is not the right time. So it will print 5. It will print 5. So this is basically power of pointer, right? You can access contents of another variable, okay, remotely. Okay. So the pointer is like that. You remotely can control that contents and everything. How? Star int ptr is equal to 10. And if I write this statement again, right? If I run this code, the contents of x are changed. Right? Contents of x are changed. Got that? Uh, if You want to store address of a float variable, right? That pointer has to be a float, right? Note that note that this star can be written um, closer to any object. Okay, so it can be close to float, it can be close to variable name. Okay, or it can be in between them. Char, star, and uh, character. So now, if I write, I'll copy this everything. No, I won't copy because if I copy, how you will learn? That is a big problem. That is a big worry for me. So I will write float ptr is equal to, I will store the address of y, right? And print and write address of y or contents of contents I will float, right? And I will print that contents of y using pointer. So I will attach the star. What is the meaning of that star and variable? It is value at the address contained in float ptr. Okay, how I can read this? Or this, any statement. Okay, how it is to be read? Value at the address contained in variable float ptr. Right? Same applies here. How this is read? Value at the address contained in ptr. Right? And if I write star is equal to, right? Yeah. You can remotely change that. Similarly, char ptr is equal to ampersand ch, right? So now char ptr is now points to ch, right? So printf address of ch is equal to percent u slash n, will write ch char ptr, right? Because contents of char ptr is address of ch. I will now print now. Programming should be done in a programming way. Okay, So contents of x ch equal to percent c, and then I write star char. I write star char media is equal to, suppose I write dollar sign. You will never find this character. Okay, you can observe me. You will never find this character when I write it in a small case, because that is not rule of English. First letter of a sentence must be capital. That you have been taught. Problem is that you don't follow that. Okay? I see a lot of your program, rather everybody's program I see. And I see from all angles, not just programming logic, everything. Style, how far they are neat, composed, a lot of things. Okay? A lot of things are there. So contents of ch equal to percent %c slash n, and then we write here ch. Right. So what is the objective? Objective is that to learn pointers, we have declared three variables. We store some contents in that. Then we printed that. Then we printed address of those variables. Then we declared three pointer variables. Then we store address of each variable, that is a integer variable in a integer pointer, float variable in a float pointer, character variable in a character pointer. Is that all? And at the same time, we try to access contents of original variable through pointer variable. And one more thing we did, we modified the contents of original variable through pointer variable. Right? So all basic operations we have done. Let's execute this code. Okay, I'll share this source code along with you if you want. So, right. So initially x is 5, y is 4.5, ch contains a, address of a. See, it has changed now, right? Earlier it was 76 or 80, I think. It was 80. Now it has changed. The address of x is 6487556. Address of y is 6487552. Address of ch is 51. Address of x is 56. Okay, that. Now x contains 5, and this is done using that pointer variable, right? We have, this is the value contents of x printed using pointer variable. Here, using pointer, we change the contents of x, and you can see that it has been changed. Now, this is the address of y printed using um character float pointer, and contents of y accessed through the float pointer. Contents of y change. Where is it changed? Yeah, change that. What happened to that? Or we didn't change? Okay, let's see. Then address of ch, that is 51. Contents of a changed, and contents of ch, that is, so it is changed, right? Now note that, let me see. Yeah, we written here. Okay. After this, we have not written that printf statements. That's why, right? Now, Note that this pointer variable occupies space in the memory, right? So, as per Dennis Ritchie's uh, a statement on concept of pointer, there can be a variable which can contain an address of pointer variable, right? So that will be a pointer to pointer. Okay, I will just write this and then I will write one program. Okay. There can be a variable. There can be a variable. This is a pointer to pointer which contains an address of integer variable, right? So it is a double pointer. There can be triple, can be four, limitless, right? Beyond two, anybody hardly goes. Okay, double pointer sometimes we need that. Okay, at that time we will see how to. But I just gave you a hint. So in that case, what you will write? I will write how that statement will be. PTR is equal to ampersand int PTR, right? So PTR is a pointer which contains an address of integer pointer, right? PTR is pointer which contains an address of, but address of what? This itself is an integer pointer, okay? And we have stored that address of x in PTR. So that is basically. So what I did in one single program, I have covered everything. Right? I will share this code along with you. Now let's see what is the use of this. So we'll write another program. You can ask me questions. I will explain the world famous program now. Right? World famous. Uh, suppose there is a two variables. This is a world famous program used to explain um, why this is world famous. Only because this is how machine works, right? Written this program in the first chapter, right? So this is, I mean, I don't need to run this code, but okay, we'll run it, right? Because there can be mistake committed by me. Semicolon, double quote, comma, lot of things are there, right? So if I run this code, I'll enter 55 and 88. Right? So contents are integer, nothing big in this, right? Because, but here we have written everything inside main function, right? But I told you last chapter was function, and I told you that then onwards we will write program using functions only, not inside main function, right? Okay. So I will call the function sat, right? I'll change the values of x and I'll write here, right? I will print p comma and q. That here code is there, I think. No. Right? So if I run this code, contents will be interchange. Right? Is it so? No, contents won't be interchange. Rather, it should not contain. Let me see whether computer actually cheats me or obeys me. So if I enter 44 and 55, contents are same. Contents are same because interchange has not taken place at all. What is the reason? Reason is that this x and y are local to this function, right? The swapping is taken, interchanging is taken in another function. Okay. So changes are made here, not here. Changes are not made here, right? You cannot return two values because I told you function cannot return more than one value. So how will you return p as well as q? Not possible. Students like Python language because swapping contents of no two variables. Python does it in a single statement. A comma b is equal to b comma a. Okay, but uh, they find it very mm, kind of a magic. Okay, there is a magic, but magic is done by C language. So what I mean to say is that there are limitations. Here there are limitations. And whenever there are limitations, whenever you are stuck, okay, there is one almighty in programming world that is the pointer. Okay. So send the address. Instead of this thing, you want might be me reading this code. So I'll save this. Right, so that I can send both of these source codes. Now instead of I send the address of X and address of Y, because we know that in the earlier program you store the address of X in NPTR, right? And then using NPTR you change the contents of X. If you can recall, you store the address of Y in float PTR, and using the same pointer variable you change the contents of Y remotely. Apply same logic here. You're sending address of X and Y collected in a PTR. So star P and star P. Since you are sending an address, it has to be collected in a pointer variable. What should be the prototype? Function is not going to return anything. I told you last time that there are functions which will perform task but won't return anything meaningful, because function is not going to return anything, right? There will be swap and what is the argument? Int star and int star, right? We are not sending here integer and integer. We are sending an address. That's why you're sending address, right? Address of X. So int star and see it should match along with this. That's it. Same. Okay. No confusion. And here void. Now P is a pointer to X and Q is a pointer to Y. We know that using pointer variable P, you can manipulate contents in X, and using pointer variable Q, you can manipulate contents in Y. Manipulate those. What you want to do? You want to store, you write the statement. P contains the address of X. So if I write star P, it is basically X. So store X in temp. We did the same thing in the earlier program. P is a pointer to X. Q is a pointer to Y. Right? So assigning Q to P is not logical way. Okay. So write star P is equal to star Q. Okay. Q is a pointer to Y. Star of that Q. What is the star of that Q? Star of that Q is value at the address contained in Q. What is the value at that address contained in Q? Contents of Y. Store it where? Not in P, but at the location where P is pointing. That's why star P. Right? And stores them not in Q. Because you cannot store integer in a pointer variable. So Q is equal to temp is invalid. Where do you where store that temp? Not in Q, but where Q is pointing. So star. Okay. This is not easy. Okay. And for that, I requested all of you to purchase my course, but some of you ignored. I am sharing one link to how I have explained this using animation. So you will get this link once the session is over, right? And if you are confused, then um, watch that program internally, because today I will be spending too much time, right? The whole I taught in one lecture in string chapter, it will be finished within 5 minutes, because this whole discussion is a part of, you know, whole discussion will be a part of that string chapter. 5 minutes only. So just imagine what 55 minutes will be. Okay. So if I run this code, I enter 88 and 66. Before interchange, X was 88, Y was containing 66. After interchange, X contains 66 and contains 88. So contents are changed. Why this program is taken? Only because, okay, lot of activities in this machine are done by swapping the contents. Okay, we only swap. Lot of swapping is there inside the machine. Okay, when machine works, swapping is there. Okay, when you open some application and memory is less or memory is reduced, what it does, those which applications which are not getting used by that um, user, okay, operating system does what, put this back to the some temporary location, and then this is what swapping, putting this there and they getting this here. Okay, that is swapping. So this is as far as interchanging contents of two variables using pointers. A lot of applications of pointers we are going to see. Okay, tomorrow, um, day after tomorrow. Can we conduct session tomorrow? Okay, let's discuss it. Okay, and I'm going to write a couple of programs using pointers. Right? Don't worry. It is not that much easy. Right? So shall we stop here? It is 8:15, so I can give some time for question and answers. That is important.